In this tutorial, I'm going to be walking you through how you can change the colors and fonts in your Wix Studio website template. Let's dive in. All right, so the first thing I would recommend you doing is just taking a look at the site, the different features, the colors, the typography, and just start getting an idea of how you're going to blend your personal branding into the template itself. So where you see pops of color like the orange, you may want to add a color from your brand template that has a pop of color. I also recommend making a copy of the template itself. That way you don't go too far editing and then you're like, oh, I forgot what it even looked like in the first place. If you do, you can also view the template, but I would definitely recommend making a copy just so you have it there as a reference. If you go over here, you'll notice that there are site styles. The colors that are named are the colors that have been used specifically in this template. These are the fonts that have been used. You have your headings and paragraph styles. I wouldn't really mess with max width or page transition. You'll be focusing on the color and fonts. So one way to do it is to just go in and start adding your brand colors, hex codes, and your typography. But just know that if you do that, it will change everything. It'll change the layout, everything. So one way that I recommend doing it is, for example, you're in this first section here, you have your header up here, your navigational menu. So within this section, I would play with the text first before updating all of the global fonts and colors. What I'm going to use is a quick brand board that I made on Canva. I just used the template and changed the colors around a bit. So we're going to be using these colors and this brand style guide. So the font that's being used here is Gyaza. So if you have that font, I would recommend uploading your brand fonts into Wix. And you can do that easily in the typography section. Let's say you want to change your heading font. You can click on it and then there's a button here to upload fonts. So this is where you can upload all your brand fonts. If you don't have access to your brand fonts, I would recommend just kind of scrolling through and looking at which ones match my brand the best. It may not be a perfect match. You can buy your font or you can just look for a font that will match. For now, let's just try spicy rice. We'll keep that in mind. So instead, let me just show you. If I were to update this for everything, you'll notice that it really does change all of the heading fonts on the page. So that is one way you can do it. You can always hit undo. Or another way to do it is if you click the heading font itself, you'll notice this is heading 1. You can change the font over here. So let's actually change our minds. Let's use Playfair Display Bold. We'll do that. It's not a perfect match, but you'll notice it kind of has the same thin and thick lines. You don't get the playfulness that you get with the Gyaza font, but it's a good match for now. So we'll go ahead and go with that. So if you change it here, it makes it easier for you to play with the size. So you can decide, oh yeah, 250 is way too big. What if I go down to 200? It's a little better. Maybe I go down to 150. So just play with it and see what's going to be best. So you decide, okay, 175 looks good for my heading fonts. So you can go into the typography section and change this. Okay, we went with Playfair Display Bold and update, and instead of 250, let's go with 175. So that just makes it a little bit easier to see what you're doing before you change everything. So then once that's changed, you can adjust as needed and go in. This is a heading 2 font, so you can see maybe it's a little too big. Let's go down to 60, maybe 50. Let's do 55. We can adjust as needed. And that your heading 2 font is now Playfair Display Bold 55. Let's go back and update that. Let's make sure it looks good everywhere else. So this is also a heading 2 font. Yeah, it looks good. You can stretch it out a bit. You'll need to make some minor adjustments here and there. But let's go back. We decided that 55 was a good size. Go into your typography, and for heading 2, let's change that to 55. And it'll change all of your heading 2 fonts to 55. And then you can kind of go down and see what else might need to be changed. This one is a little bit big. And some of the heading 2 fonts, like you'll notice this one, it's just meant to be bigger. So it's not, it has a star next to it. So that means it's not matching the exact style font here. So you can change it manually or you can leave it, whatever you like. Yeah, everything else looks pretty good. You can go through and change. You notice this one's just feeling a little bit big. You can stretch it out and move it around. All right, so once you have kind of a good idea of what you want the fonts to look like, you can also check the other pages and just see what it's looking like there. And one thing you'll always want to do is when you change something on desktop, make sure you look at tablet view and mobile view to make sure it still looks good. We can go into the paragraph font now. So this one is using, for the paragraphs, it's using Equestrial. On our brand kit, we have more of a mono type or a sans serif. So interphases, mono or interphases. Not sure if Wix has that, but let's see. So for paragraphs, I'm just going to go ahead and do it for all of them this time. And you can type in to see if it has it. If not, upload it. And you can scroll down and see one that might match. Let's try Jura. That one looks good. So update, and then you'll see it changes all the paragraph fonts now to this Jura font. And then we're going to talk about colors. In your brand, where you see a bold pop of color, you're going to want to replace that with the bold pop of color you see on the template. In my brand, the bold pop of color would be this chartreuse color. So I'm going to grab this hex code, copy it, and drop it in where you see that pop of orange. So you can hit edit and then just drop in your hex code and apply. And it will change everything that was orange now should be that color. Some of them you may need to change manually as well, like this one. So you can just grab the shape and now your color is right here. And you may notice, oh yeah, white doesn't look so good on that. You can't read it. So you can change the color of the text to black. Maybe you want to adjust the size a bit. So this is a heading 3. Go back here and adjust your heading 3s to 36. So far it's looking pretty good. So let's go back and do that with all the colors. So you'll notice if you click this background image, it has a color overlay, which is the earthy lavender. So go to your brand guide and say, I think this purple will be good instead of that earthy lavender. So we can change that. Drop your hex code here and apply. As you put the colors in, you'll start to notice huge differences across the whole site. And then we have this noir color, but in our brand kit, we do have black already, but let's try to add the teal color instead. And you'll see it just changes the whole look and feel. It still maintains some black in spots, but then you also have that teal pop of color. But once you have all the colors down, again, make sure you're checking it out on mobile and desktop. And then one thing that I would recommend doing next is going in and editing the images. And just go one section at a time. We'll start with the top section. The background image is here. So all you have to do is hit change media. And we're going to upload an image that was already on the brand board. We're going to change the background. And then you can use this button here. This will change the focal point. So you see her face is getting cut off. So we'll take that and move the focal point up to where you want it. And then for this image, we'll use the same image, just hit change image. But as you notice, oh, now it's covering the background. So how do we fix that? If you hit settings, then adjust, we have this feature here called cutout. So all you have to do is click the button and it will erase the background for you. Then hit save and you can adjust as needed. Sometimes it takes a minute to go into effect. All right, yeah. So if you need to crop the image or anything like that, this is the crop button. and then you can just move it around to where you want it. And one thing I like to do sometimes is just hit preview to see how everything's looking. So already in 5 minutes, it has a completely different look and feel than it did before. So once you start going in and changing all the images, you'll see all the brand pieces coming together and you'll have a template that's your own. I'm going to go in and completely revamp this whole template with the branding from the other page, and then you can see what it looks like once it's completely revamped. Thank you so much for watching. If this tutorial helped you feel more confident about how you can update and use your Wix Studio website template, don't forget to give it a like. You can also subscribe for more branding tips and website tutorials made for bold creatives just like you. You can shop all of my Wix Studio templates in the link below at my website, CVillaDesign.com. And if you need help customizing your template or you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. There's also an option on my website for me to help you customize your Wix Studio template. Thanks again.